too late to think of any words that may bring you back to earth. We spin rope around your waist. You turn, you smile, you float away. 'Cause you couldn't find a better place to waste all your time. To waste your time. And you couldn't find a better place to waste.
All right, hello out there in the podcasting world. My name is Antonio Longo, and I am the host of the Fascination Street podcast. Welcome to episode number 2. Today will be a little bit different than episode number 1. I do not have a guest today. It is just going to be me, so that's definitely a first for me. Right now, we have a lot going on. We're days away from Christmas. We are still smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. Now there's apparently new strains going on in England and all this craziness around the world. But I didn't want too much time to go by before dropping another episode. And let's be honest, there's a lot to go over when it comes to The Cure. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of different things you can do. I have a lot of great guests lined up, and I'm going to be going through every album in the Cure discography, but we're going to kind of drop off and do little one-offs like this, where I'm going to talk about playlisting or mixtapes or whatever you'd like to call it in this day and age. For me, I am 42 years old currently, and making mixed cassette tapes was a huge part of me growing up. It is one of those things that really, not that it was my first dabble into recording or producing or being a musician, but find me a musician or a producer who wasn't obsessed with making mixtapes when they were growing up. It's one of those things that you were speaking in song even before you could write songs. So The Cure was on a lot of my playlists. A lot of my playlists now and a lot of my mixtapes back then. You got to kind of tell a story through other people. And that's essentially what songs are. And when you're doing that, there's a lot of differences in how people write and how people take things. Now, things are not going to be very specific. So maybe there's a song, let's say, In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. There's that famous scene where John Cusack is holding up the radio to the window, playing the song. Now, that song was imitating what he was feeling. Maybe not every single word, maybe not down to specifics. Sometimes it's just the chorus. Sometimes there's just something in a song that reminds you of someone. And music is a way to express those things without using your own words. Maybe some people aren't good with words. Maybe some people are nervous. This is a way that we used to tell people how we felt, whether it was a friend, a loved one, anything. Any reason to make a mixtape back in the day, and any reason to make a playlist now. My Spotify is filled with playlists. So today, what I decided to do is I'm making a Cure playlist on Spotify. At first, I was like, let me do a top 10. And then when you think about it, 10 songs go by pretty quickly. Then I said to myself, I'll do 17 songs for 17 seconds. Then when I got to that point, I was like, there's more songs I want to put on here. Now, with a band like The Cure that has a huge 40-year span of music, granted it's only 13 studio albums, but B-sides, soundtracks, singles, you name it. There is a ginormous body of work. Now, in a mixtape, there's also your reasoning behind it, or in a playlist. I mentioned on episode 1 that I have playlists for everything, for, being, to get me pumped up, or to go out running, to go on a long drive. Today's is going to be a little more somber, I'm not going to lie. This is my Cure playlist for hard times. Now, I don't just mean a breakup. Sometimes it's just a bad day, a bad mood, a hint of anxiety, the stress of life getting to you, or it is the big bad heartbreak. Now, what is it about moody, sad, or somber songs that almost make you feel a little bit better when you're feeling that way? Now, for me, I think it's knowing that someone else also feels that way. It's knowing that you aren't the only one. So I put together this playlist for those things because, it's been a little bit of a tough week. Not going to lie. On a personal note, I lost a dear family member, and I think that is what kind of started it off. And then, during the holidays, it's very easy to get bogged down with the, sad thoughts. I mean, right now we can't travel, we can't be close to our loved ones. It's frustrating. Thanksgiving wasn't the same this year for those of us in the U.S., obviously. So also shout out to all my listeners outside of the United States. It's very cool when you can sit there and look at where people are listening to you from and how we can connect right now. This is such a fun way to do that. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Now, as we dive into this, speaking of podcasting and around the world, this is episode 2 for me. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, whether it's for the second time or the first time. And if you could just go and follow or subscribe to the podcast so you get notifications, that would really help. If you can drop a line and give a review on iTunes or Spotify or anything, that'll also help just get the word out there about what we're talking about music, about The Cure, and about how their music and music in general affects us on a daily basis. I was recently listening to an episode of the Slacker podcast, and the guest was Jim Atkins, singer of Jimmy Eat World. And as I'm listening to it, they're talking about in the late 90s how the phrase emo came up and how Jimmy Eat World is kind of put into that title. And he asked him kind of how he felt about it. And Jim Atkins was saying, what really is emo? And even in that, there's so many different variations. And that's where it's one of those funny things. It's the same thing with The Cure. People say they're goth music, they're new wave. When someone thinks goth, they are sometimes thinking about more metally, dark, kind of music. And even when someone says punk rock, what is punk rock? Punk rock can sound completely different. You've got the Ramones, then you've got Rancid, then you've got bands like the Revolting Cocks. All three sound completely different. Now, The Cure was a band that was heavily influenced by punk rock, but now gets roped into 80s new wave and goth. But what they said in the Slacker podcast, that jokingly he stopped and he said, well, to be honest with you, Jim, The Cure, if they came out today, would be an emo band. Maybe they were one of the first, They are a band that definitely wears their heart on their sleeve, and their lyrics go super deep, whether it is a pop song, a gloom song, a song about death, a song about love. It's very interesting to see, how all over the place they are. And I think that's what makes them so special. So I'm going to start off with song number 1. Now, I will actually be posting this playlist on my Spotify, and you guys can go over to Spotify and take a listen to it. which will be something very, very cool and fun. It's a way that I can kind of interact with you guys as well. So you can hop on and take a listen to the podcast right there on Spotify, and then also pop over and listen to the playlist. Now, if you're not using Spotify, my apologies. I will also post the list of the songs on my Facebook page. So I've created a Facebook page for Fascination Street. So if you're on Facebook, you can look that up. You can also search for me, Antonio Longo, and I'll be posting a lot of things on there and getting your guys' input. I have actually been getting input for the last 24 hours from a really great group on podcasts, Fans of The Cure. So I had posted earlier about what songs you guys listen to, so I'm going to be incorporating some of those songs here today on this episode. So without further ado, song number 1 is Prayers for Rain off Disintegration. Disintegration probably is my favorite Cure album, and probably very well known as what most people think is their defining record. And how many amazing songs are on that record, and how many really heart-tugging songs are on there. Prayers for Rain, I mean, come on. Who does not start to feel things in the rain? Rain is purifying. There was a very long time in my life where almost every single day I lost someone or I found out that someone had passed. It was raining. This is deep into my 20s. So there was always this time of rain to me as being a purifying moment of life passing. And a lot of times it was always tough for me to, in the rain, you immediately start to feel that way. Later in life, the understanding of, hey, rain brings forth life, just as death is the kind of thing that memories then live on and new things are created from that, maybe inspiration. But Prayers for Rain, that definitely is one of those songs that you can listen to and really just feel. So that is number 1 on the playlist. Number 2 on the playlist is The Last Days of Summer off Bloodflowers. So here's a line from that song. It used to be so easy, I never even tried. So this song is one of those songs where we think about the last days of summer. So what does that mean? So for people that are going to school, you're getting ready to go back into the hard times. It's, your friends aren't getting together as much. Seasons passing is one of those things that is used in songs because it's such a beautiful, perfect metaphor. And this is one of those lines where we all know what it's like to feel like something was easy and we never even tried. Maybe it's love. Maybe it was, just getting together. That defeating moment when you realize things are tough now. So that line really always strikes and hits me right in the gut. Number 3, Want off Wild Mood Swings. So here's a line from that song. I know deep down inside I'll never get any more hope or any more time. This song kicks off Wild Mood Swings like a punch in the face. Now, as you guys know, that record is all over the place. And that's why it's called Wild Mood Swings, because it is an emotional roller coaster, by definition, all over the place. I like to think that this song is something, an eternal struggle. Now, when you sit there and you hear those words, hope is something that Robert Smith uses in quite a few of his songs. I think those ties, when he does that kind of stuff, is maybe he's pulling from the same inspiration. Maybe he's pulling from the same thing that was going on or story, and you get multiple songs out of that story. Over the last 20 years, I have 3 songs of mine personally from 3 different bands that I was in. One is Taking Back Sunday. The other was a band, The Prize Fighter, and the other was just my solo writing and my solo songs, which is now called Ordinary Life. And those 3 songs are almost a little mini trilogy, just like The Cure has a trilogy of albums, but that's something that I'm actually going to save for another episode. So I'm going to make you guys have to tune in, and we'll touch back on that at a different time. Number 4 is Sinking from The Head on a Door. And if you listened to the first episode of Fascination Street podcast, my guest Sam Hoyos, that is his favorite Cure album, and definitely one of their best for sure. I'm slowing down as the years go by. That line from that song is one of those lines that everyone can feel and understand. As years go by, maybe things aren't easier anymore. And I just don't mean from a physicality standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint. The more you go through something, sometimes the harder and harder it is. Sometimes the easier it is. But that's definitely a line from that song that really hits close to home. So I figured I'd give, sometimes in some of these songs, just those lines that really stand out to me that make them the kind of song that would be on a playlist for hard times. Number 5, The Cold. This is off the Pornography record. This song is beyond haunting. I absolutely adore this song. This is one of those songs where if I was making a horror or suspense film, this would 100% be on the soundtrack. And it would be a song playing while somebody was like running through a cemetery or running away from someone that was trying to get to them. To just bring up anxiety, and like this song is so haunting. I fucking adore it. That's right. I dropped an F-bomb. This song is worthy of the F-bomb. Coming in at number 6. Now, just to clarify a little bit, these songs aren't necessarily in a like best to worst, worst to best, or anything like that. They're just kind of how I laid them out in the playlist, whether it's feel, I tried to kind of move around with the feel of the songs a little bit. I like to do that on my playlists. Start out at a certain point, end a certain way, so they kind of flow. So number 6 is To Wish Impossible Things off of Wish. This song has those beautiful violins that are just like angels crying. It was the hope of what we might have been. So there's that line. And we clearly can tell this is one of those songs that is about a relationship. A lot of times there's that what if. We could have been this, we could have been that. Whether it's one person didn't try, whether it was fear of seeking that person out. These are all things that all of us have felt and all of us have been through. So thank you, Robert Smith, for making the songs that go along with that, so we know we're all not out there alone. Number 7 is Anniversary from the self-titled or The Cure album. So this anniversary song, I mean, there are a lot of things that have anniversaries. It just doesn't mean getting married. Maybe it's the anniversary of someone passing. Maybe it's the anniversary of just something big that happened in your life. But this song can pull up those kind of feelings, and it's just an absolute beautiful song. You know, the self-titled Cure album is definitely on the lower spectrum of my favorite albums, but this song, without a doubt, stands out on that record. Number 8, now that I've given some obvious or some obscure songs, I'm going to give the song that was mentioned most when I asked my fellow Cure fans on songs for when they're kind of going through a tough time, or, moody songs. And this one was said the most, might be the most obvious, and it might be the most beautiful song ever written, and that is Pictures of You. If you can't relate to this song, if you don't like this song, you're dead inside. Like, beyond dead inside. I don't care if you listen to gangster rap, country music. This is one of those songs that anyone who hears it, if you don't feel something, you're literally dead inside. So Pictures of You, I mean, come on. There have been a couple different stories throughout the years on where this song came from. Robert Smith had mentioned it being from a book. Then he later denied that. And then later it was said that about pictures that were lost in a fire. And then it was just simply, he had said at one point about losing his wallet, and he kept pictures in his wallet and remembering people that he loved at a certain time and in certain moments, and now he didn't have those anymore, and just how it made him feel. Now, we all have people in our lives that aren't in our lives at all anymore. Maybe they're on the other side of the world. I know I have lots of friends and family spread all over the United States. So this song is something beyond relatable. It is beautiful. It is perfect. It is one of my favorite Cure songs. All right. So number 10, Underneath the Stars, off 413 Dream. Now, I have read so many lists on Cure albums being ranked, and so many times this album is ranked all the way at the bottom, like the last. And that blows my mind. But again, that's a story for another day. I mean, Underneath the Stars is so beautiful. They use amazing production on this song with the reversing of Robert's voice. I mean, echo and reverb is kind of his thing, but on this one they actually will flip and reverse it and kind of put it underneath it, and it is such a great song. If you've never listened to it in like really good stereo headphones, go do that right now. I don't care if you pause the podcast and run and go listen to it that way and come back, but it's definitely a must. And come on, who can't relate to Underneath the Stars? We all look at the same stars. That's one of the things that I always find phenomenal, that no matter where you live, if you look up at the night sky, you're seeing the same stars in the same place, the same constellations. I mean, these are things I was absolutely obsessed with as a kid, and everyone can relate to. I always get messages from people who are fans of Taking Back Sunday, and sometimes they'll reach out to me and they'll talk about one of the songs from when I was in the band called Summer Stars, and how it's their favorite song of Taking Back Sundays and how it means a lot to them. again, I think there's this thing about that beautiful night sky that we all relate to so much, and this star encapsulates that perfectly. All right, number 10. This is now the 10th song of the playlist, so I guess this is where it would have ended had I decided to just do 10, is Out of Mind, which was the B-side off the Lullaby Fascination Street 12-inch single. I've been up for days, and I feel like a laboratory rat inside a maze. That's one of the lines from the song that definitely really stands out. And then later in the song, there's a line, I'll be fine, I'm out of sight. So it's like just the complete frustration, the feeling like a rat going through a maze, just uncontrollably not sure where you're going. And that's something in life that everyone has been through. All right. Number 11 is the song Play. Now, this is an extra B-side of the song High. It's the I Let You Down song, and like admitting that you are playing games with someone. This is a different type of song where a lot of the songs, heartbreak songs, are written from the aspect of the person who maybe got their heart broken or had someone do wrong to them. But this song is one of those songs where it's almost the admitting that you did the wrong. And there's just something so liberating about that. It's really tough. There have been many times throughout the years, breakups, this, that, and the other. And to me, some of the worst things in when a relationship ends is the fact that someone will do something so wrong, and it's always just an excuse, not just yeah, I know, I did this. To kind of give closure per se. And this is such a good song and a way where it kind of says that, hey, I messed up. And it's a promise to try to change. And change is definitely difficult. So Play is that song for me. That's why it had to make this list. Number 12, It Used to Be Me. This is the B-side of the 13th. Very, very similar in feeling as far as what the song is about to Play, which is why I kind of have these songs back to back. It's that saying to someone like, man, I let you down. That's huge to be able to say that you've let someone down. And this is another song where he mentions hope. So I've kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. I actually have the word hope tattooed on my neck. And I think it's a really important thing to have. And I think that Robert Smith uses that a lot of times in his songs because we all want things in life. And if you don't have hope that something can happen, then you don't even strive for it. If he didn't hope to be a great songwriter or hope to reach many people with his songs, would he still be doing it today? I mean, was it a week or two ago, he was in his living room or his music room in his house playing songs in his socks, and that both terrified me and made me respect him even more, actually, because he wasn't wearing socks. There was Robert Smith, like, decked out in pajamas, bare feet flying, playing songs for a benefit and live streaming them. And I was like, it scares me that this is the state of where he's at right now, where he should be out there touring, or he should be out there doing all these things, and there he is chilling barefoot in pajamas. But he's still like, I don't care what I look like. Fuck this. I'm just gonna rock out. So wherever you are, Robert, I know you'll probably never hear this, but thank you for that. Number 13, Last Dance. Again, another song off Disintegration. A few people commented on my Facebook post about giving some songs to throw onto this list, and a lot of them said just straight up the Disintegration album. Also, we're very close to Christmas, so there is that mention in Last Dance where they mention Christmas time. And this song is one of those songs where, to me, the feeling is like love getting old, or something getting old and missing the past. And that's one of those things that definitely hits home when you're kind of feeling blue. So that song 100% had to make the list. All right. Number 14 is Apart from Wish. This is the ultimate breakup song. I mean, it just is everything you want to say to that person when things are going down. I mean, the amount of times I've listened to this song in my life is unbelievable, whether it was going through a breakup or not. Even if that heartbreak was 25 years ago, this song is one of those songs that will always just kind of pluck that out. It's pretty crazy. The bass line in the song is phenomenal, and it is definitely, if you were to go through the songs, maybe not favorite. I say that about all these songs. Oh, it's one of my favorite. But I've probably spun this song so many times in my life that it's one of my most played Cure songs for sure. Number 15 is Cut off the Wish album. It's interesting because I don't mean to keep bringing up emo or anything, and I know some of you out there may be like, I hate emo, blah, blah, blah. But this song could have been a song by the band Brand New. Like, if you literally took Jesse Lacey and had him sing it, and you played it for someone that doesn't listen to The Cure, you'd be like, this song is amazing. This song just drives, the drums just kind of push it forward. And a line from that song, you don't feel anymore, you don't care anymore, it's all gone. It's like a frustrated, scream at the top of your lungs, throw shit across the room, you don't care, what the fuck? That is this song. That's why it had to be on the list. Now, that's not me making fun of Brand New, because I do love that band. I know those guys. And if it was one of their songs, I'd still love it just as much. So it belongs here. Number 16. This Twilight Garden. This is another song that got mentioned a lot when I reached out to a bunch of Cure fans as songs that they would have 100% put on this playlist, so I had to add it. It is another B-side. Again, there's a lot of B-sides on this list. I've been taking a super deep dive back into the Cure box set, The Spot, and it is just, I think it's not called The Spot, The Dots, I forgot. My brain is a little fried. I got 5 hours sleep last night. But their B-sides collection is the greatest B-sides collection of any band on the planet. And in this song, it's just gorgeous. It's No One Will Ever Take Your Place. I Am Lost in You. It is a beautiful track from beginning to end. It is not a super long song. It is not filled with tons of lyrics. It doesn't need it because it's just great the way that it is. And that is one of the things that makes The Cure so amazing. They'll go 2.5 minutes without one lick of a word, and you stay on the song. And it still speaks to you, and it still makes you want to listen to it. Number 17 is Cut Here, off of The Cure's Greatest Hits album that had that. It was a double CD. I remember buying it very vividly. It had acoustic tracks on the other CD, and it featured this song, which was a new song off of it. And I mean, this song is about a friend of Robert Smith's who committed suicide. And this is basically his song to him. It's, I would have made more time to have that drink. I would have, I would have sat down and talked to you more. It's that regret that once someone is gone, you didn't get to have those things with them. And he put it all out there. That's a really tough thing to talk about. That's a really tough thing to admit. And The Cure did it. Robert Smith did it, and I thank him for it because this song is phenomenal. And for me, I understand that. I've buried a lot of people, and this song has always been there for me, and it definitely helps make me feel better at the end of the day. Number 18 is Fight, off Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. This song might as well be an anthem against anxiety and depression. You put this song on, and it's just like, fight, fight. When you're feeling down, it says someone else is feeling that way. They fought through it, so can you. Number 19 is The Lost, off The Cure's The Cure. And this is another song that it has that slow build, very much like one of my favorite bands, Mineral. Very gets up there, builds. It starts from the bottom of your stomach and just makes you want to like punch through a wall. If you haven't really given that album as much play because when you first heard it, it wasn't that great, go back and listen to it. I've literally been going through full albums during this quarantine time from beginning to end and rediscovering so many great tracks that I ignored because back then I wanted it to be Wish. I wanted it to be Pornography. I wanted it to be Disintegration, and it wasn't. But go check that record out again. Number 20 on the list is Breathe, the B-side off Catch. There are a couple different B-sides on Catch, and this is one of them. And this song is a song, this might have the few or least amount of lyrics in any Cure song. It seems almost like an interlude. It's very simple. It's soft. It is just a beautiful song. And I still put it on playlists. I still listen to it when it comes on. I don't skip past it. But it's, again, not very wordy. A lot of the music speaks for itself, and it is a beautiful track. Number 21, as we are kind of winding down to the last 4 songs on this playlist, is A Chain of Flowers. This is the other B-side off Catch. Now, the funny thing is I didn't mean to put these two back to back. They just kind of fell on there. And I read that when Robert Smith was recording, he kind of got himself into a little bit of a writer's block from a lyrical standpoint. And he basically asked the band, he's like, guys, be patient with me. Help me out. I don't know what to do. So what I've read is that Simon actually slipped a piece of paper under the door of the bedroom Robert was staying in, and it said, "All I want is summer." And apparently that kind of sparked something in him that got the basis of this song going. This song is kind of like the fear of losing someone. It's also rumored that it is based off of someone that wanted to commit suicide. But this song is pretty intense lyrically. And it is a really great song and almost comforting for me as a songwriter to know that Robert Smith was reaching out to other people and was having writer's block, because writer's block is something that, hits me. There's times where I'll play and I'll write and just nothing's coming out and it's frustrating. But it's nice to know that even Robert Smith of The Cure, with 40 years worth of songs, goes through it as well. All right, number 22. I can't believe I'm on the 22nd song already. 1,000 Hours on Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Another song that's mostly music. 1,000 hours just thrown away, just to feel my heart for a second. That's one of the lines from that song, and it's just thinking, again, about time passing just to feel. And music is emotion. Life is emotion. If we didn't have emotions, we'd be robots. So that song definitely had to make the list. It is a great song. It's a great album. And I'd say if it's one that doesn't, really hit you, I mean, it's definitely not a single, go back and take a listen. All right, 23 is Charlotte Sometimes off of Faith. It is said that Robert Smith wrote this song based on his favorite book called Charlotte Sometimes by Penelope Farmer. And it also is something that he kind of dove into about nightmares he would have. Robert Smith pulls a lot from nightmares. And I'm one of those people who does not sleep well. When I do dream, I have very vivid dreams, and my nightmares can be everything from running really slow away from a giant lobster that's trying to kill me to someone trying to murder me to just one of those, like, you're dark and you're lost. We've all had these dreams. We've all had nightmares. We all have been there, and I love that he pulls from that. And I love that he reaches into the depths of even being inspired by a book, and he's not afraid to say it. I mean, he named the song Charlotte Sometimes. So it wasn't like something that he was trying to hide. And it's another really moody track that has always been there for me when I'm in that rut. So, number 24, the final one on this playlist, Dread Song. I am so glad that somebody on the Facebook page had mentioned this song, because I was going to put it on there. And this song is on the Judge Dredd soundtrack, the Sylvester Stallone movie. And for those of you that don't know, Robert Smith and Sylvester Stallone are actually really good friends till this day. Robert Smith actually was inspired by a scene in Rocky that helped him write lyrics to a song. And he told Sylvester Stallone that years later, and Stallone asked him to write this song. And it is a fucking killer song. The movie may not be a killer movie. No offense to Sly himself, but it's not a great film, but it is a damn good song. I mean, Robert Smith nails it when it comes to song soundtracks. I very much toyed with putting the song Burn on here from the Crow soundtrack, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. Didn't quite make the list, and it maybe might have, but when I put this last song on the playlist and I saw that it hit exactly 2 hours, I was like, all right, we've got our playlist, we've got our podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for listening. I know this podcast was a little bit different, but it is something that I wanted to give a try because, again, mixtapes and playlists have been a part of my life forever. This podcast, Fascination Street, is going over the entire Cure discography, all their songs, all their albums. And now, if you guys like this, please let me know. I'm Antonio Longo. I am available to you guys. My Instagram is at the Antonio Longo. Antonio Longo on Facebook, Antonio Longo on Spotify. If you'd like to try to find this playlist as well, you can go check it out. It is very specifically named the Cure Hard Times playlist on Spotify. You will find these songs in the order in which we discussed. So please share this with people you know that might like it. Share it on your social medias. Give a follow, give a like, give a review. Help me keep this thing going. It really helps to know that in these hard times when I can't hang out with people and talk about music, because that's what I mostly talk about, because music literally is my lifeblood, that I can do things like this and really just, connect with people and do shit. Again, thank you so much. Shout out to Sam Hoyos, who was the guest on my last podcast. His band Playing Dead is the song you hear at the beginning and at the end of this podcast. Check them out on Spotify. They are amazing. And check out his podcast, The Red River Podcast. It is kind of pop culture-y. It is all about movies and music. They have some great guests. They've got a lot of episodes. If you're looking for something new to listen to, definitely check it out. Thank you. Be safe. Stay strong. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. Talk to you soon.
You turn, you smile, you float away, 'cause you couldn't find